She had never imagined it would end like this. Robyn perched on the edge of a rigid gray chair, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. The room was hushed, too hushed. No camera operators, no family reunion, no insincere smiles, just her and Christine on the opposite side of the table. Two women who had once referred to one another as sister. Now, they were not quite even strangers. Christine did not say a word. Not yet. She sat back, relaxed, inscrutable. She was quietly confident in her silence, and that made Robyn's skin crawl. For years, Robyn had seen Christine rise, famous, fearlessly. A book contract here, a new television show there, a new haircut, a radiant smile. The world adored her. Social media applauded her. She was fearless. She was liberated. She was the woman who left Kody and did not look back. But Robyn knew otherwise. You turned our pain into your platform, Robyn finally said, voice low but steady. And I'm the one who got buried in the wreckage. Christine tilted her head, amused. I just told my truth. That phrase, my truth. Robyn had heard it too many times. Truth was a tricky thing in their world. It bent depending on who was telling the story. Robyn clenched her jaw. Your truth cost me everything. And that's when Christine smiled. Just a little, and that smile revealed to Robyn one horror. Christine knew what she'd done. Robyn had not come to this meeting to fight. She had come to survive. Because to the world, she was already defeated. They dubbed her the manipulator, the home wrecker, the puppet master behind Kody's demise. Folks forgot she was the last one standing, who still attempted to keep the family intact while everybody else abandoned ship. Christine had the public in the palm of her hand. And Robyn, she was the cautionary tale. But what if the truth was never revealed? Robyn extracted a creased envelope from her bag. She laid it on the table. Christine didn't move for it. You know what that is, Robyn said. Christine looked down, and then back up at her. Does it matter? It should, Robyn said. It's your handwriting. The envelope lay between them, like a weapon with a chamber full of ammunition. In it was a letter, a personal one, written by Christine almost 5 years before. A letter with regrets, doubts, and things she never imagined would be seen by others. You pleaded with me to keep it, Robyn said softly. To keep you safe, and I did. Christine's expression shifted, just a little. The corners of her self-assurance unraveled. Do you think that letter alters what you did? Christine said. Robyn's tone was soft, but edged. It alters what you're doing. Outside this room, Robyn was loathed. Inside this room, she clutched the truth like a torch. She recalled the evening Christine had penned that letter. Kody had been out for hours, angry, remote. The children were all in their bedrooms. Christine had wept in Robyn's kitchen. Not hers, Robyn's. She'd stated she couldn't handle the pressure any longer. The expectations, the burden of constantly being second, third, last. She'd wanted to be free. Robyn had kept her hand, told her it was all right, that going away did not make her weep. But Christine had pleaded with her to say nothing. For the children, for the family, for pride. That letter was Christine's heartbreak confession. And now, Christine was heroine to her own tale. And Robyn was the villain of everyone else's. Robyn hadn't spoken when the shows started airing. She remained silent during the interviews, during the tell-all specials. Even when Christine suggested Robyn took her husband and manipulated the family, Robyn remained quiet. But she wasn't remaining quiet now. You're famous because you were brave, Robyn said. You think you're famous, but you're famous because you ran, and blamed me on the way out. Christine's smile faltered. For an instant, just a breath, Robyn glimpsed the old Christine, the one who braided her daughter's hair, who snuck candy on movie nights, who wept when the kids grew up too quickly. She wasn't bad, she was weary, wounded. But now she was something else, formidable. And that frightened Robyn, more than anything. You're attempting to revise our history, Robyn insisted. You want the world to think you were the sole one suffering. Christine crossed her arms. I was suffering. So was I. Robyn's voice broke. But nobody cared when it was me. And for the first time, Christine didn't know how to respond. There it was. That flash of reality. Robyn had been made invisible for years, branded as the entitled favorite, the manipulative fourth wife. But she had also cried. She had struggled for Kody's attention. She had watched in darkness, while he stormed out to clear his head for hours. And she never received a round of applause for making it through. The note on the table, seemed to weigh more suddenly. Christine hadn't budged to reach for it. Perhaps she didn't need to. Perhaps she knew what it read. And perhaps she hoped Robyn would never be so bold as to make it public. But Robyn wasn't threatening her. Not exactly. She just wanted the truth restored. "You don't have to like me," Robyn said. "But you don't get to erase me." Christine's eyes narrowed. "And what? You'll expose me? Drag me down with you?" Robyn shook her head. "I won't expose you. I'll remind you." The silence hung thick between them. Because Robyn wasn't here to destroy Christine. She was here to ask, beg, even for something else: recognition. A moment of honesty. An acknowledgement that Robyn wasn't the only reason the family broke. That Christine had made choices too. That things weren't so black and white. But Christine didn't speak it. She couldn't, or wouldn't. And that silence meant more than any word. The truth isn't always tidy. Sometimes it's smudged with fingerprints, battered by emotion, worn down by years of allegiance that never delivered. Robyn rose to her feet slowly. She left the envelope on the table. It wasn't a threat. It was a recollection. One she hoped Christine would have the courage to look back at. Before she walked away, Robyn also turned back. "Once, I stood by you when you were breaking apart," she said. "And you made me the bad girl in your return story." Christine still did not look up, but her hand edged closer to the envelope. That was enough, because the honest truth, it wasn't even in letters or interviews or headlines. It was in the space between two women who knew precisely what the other had given up, and just how much it still stung. But this was only the start. What Christine did next would either mend the wound, or tear it wide apart. And Robyn was finished playing the quiet one. Robyn stepped out of that room with her chest constricted, and her heart beating louder than her feet. The corridor was chill, sterile, barren. A couple of minutes before, she'd left a letter on the table that could unravel everything. Not out of vengeance, though some might think so. Not even out of desperation. She left it because she finally needed Christine to see her. Not via the camera. Not in the headlines. Not in the sanitized tales to millions of unknown people. But as a woman, imperfect to be sure, but genuine, whose life had been warped into a character she never read for. She emerged into the parking lot, gaze sweeping the horizon as the sun declined. Dusk had a tendency to make everything feel incomplete, like the day was poised to exhale. What Christine was going to do next would determine everything. Robyn knew it wouldn't be done with one talk. That wasn't how things were done. Not in their family, not in their universe. Hurt came in layers, so did denial. And if there was anything that they all did best, it was pretending. But Robyn had finally had enough. She sat in her car for a moment, not turning the engine over, just thinking. Her hands shook a little on the steering wheel. She didn't cry, yet she didn't have that luxury anymore. Christine had rebranded herself with elegance. The public adored her for it. She was the courageous one, the survivor. People lost sight of how much Robyn had suffered in silence, because silence wasn't sexy. It didn't trend. Robyn looked at her phone. Nothing from Kody. No shock there. He was more distant every day, even from her. The man she once battled for with every fiber of her being now drifted like a specter between previous commitments and newer letdowns. And what about Robyn? She was fed up with waiting for someone to battle for her. The quiet from Christine, after that meeting, spoke volumes more than any newspaper headline ever possibly could. At home, the house was too tidy, too quiet. The children were away for the weekend, and Robyn didn't even bother to turn the television on. She hovered in the kitchen, gazed out of the window, and let her mind drain in like storm water. How had it ended like this? They were supposed to be sisters, companions. Robyn hadn't come into the family to wreck it. She came because she believed in it. All of it. The common faith, the spiritual bonding, the assurance that love could be multiplied, not shared. She had endured years of late-night discussions with Christine. They shared secrets, struggles, small triumphs over toddler meltdowns and burnt meals. Christine used to laugh at Robyn's jokes. She used to weep on her shoulder. And now Christine had reinvented herself as the one who escaped the prison. Robyn assisted in constructing. That evening, Robyn pulled open the kitchen drawer and took out the old family journals. They were worn, covered in scrawled entries and partially faded ink. She turned through them, resting on a date that she recalled easily, one of Christine's most difficult days. Christine visited today and fell onto the couch. She said she hadn't slept in days, that she felt invisible. I said to her, "You aren't." I told her I saw her. And I did. Robyn fingered that line. She had always noticed Christine, but Christine wasn't noticing her. Perhaps fame does that. Perhaps loss does too. She remembered the early times, when Kody had introduced her. The tension. The guarded smiles of the other wives. She didn't resent them. She'd have been suspicious too. But she'd made an effort, genuine effort to fit in softly. And perhaps that was her first error. Being soft in a world where loud departures and public suffering were rewarded. She glared at her phone again. Still nothing. Then it vibrated. But it was not Kody. It was a brief text from an unknown number. She's speaking. You review the forums. Robyn's heart constricted. She hurried to the laptop and opened the fan sites, the gossip pages. Christine's name was already making waves. A post had been made just minutes after they'd met. Not a full declaration, but a cryptic quote from Christine herself. Some people wear guilt like jewelry, visible, costly, and designed to divert you from what truly is important. Robyn sat back. She recognized that tone. Christine was already spinning it. No reference to the letter. No reference to the years they shared. Just a nicely worded insult, presented as philosophy. And the commenters lapped it up. Dozens of responses, hundreds of likes. Christine was still the heroine. And Robyn? Robyn was still the villain, with a clearer view of the truth than anyone knew. She shut the laptop down carefully, got up, and gazed out the window once more. She had not expected an apology, not exactly, but she had hoped for something. A hesitation, a spark of humanity, something Christine had once possessed in abundance, before the glare of fame transformed her. That evening, she couldn't sleep. Her dreams were disjointed. She saw Christine standing before a crowd, speaking to them about her life. Behind her, the family home split down the middle. Children's giggles rang out, and were lost. Kody stood between them both, his face obscured. And Robyn, she was in the audience, not there. She woke up gasping, fingers curled in the sheets. The following morning, she made a choice. She wasn't going to play quiet anymore. She was not going to let Christine script it all. Robyn was not seeking sympathy. She did not want revenge. But if the world was going to continue regurgitating Christine's take on things, then Robyn would give them her take as well. She picked up her phone and dialed someone she had not talked to in months. Janelle. It rang, and rang some more. Just as she was about to drop the call, the line connected. Robyn? Her voice was tentative, broken. I need to talk, Robyn said. Not about Kody, about Christine. A long pause. I figured this call was coming, Janelle said finally. She's been everywhere lately, and she hasn't said your name once. I think that's the worst part, Robyn whispered. She doesn't have to say it. She lets people do it for her. There was another pause. Then, you want to meet? Robyn nodded, although Janelle couldn't. I need someone who still remembers what it was really like. I remember, Janelle said quietly. They made plans to meet the following day. As Robyn put down the receiver, her hands still shook, but not with fear, with relief. Someone else had witnessed it too. The cafe was still too early for brunchers, too late for coffee rushers. Robyn selected a corner booth, with high backs, removed from the windows. She didn't want to be spotted today. Not by fans, not by nosy strangers, and not by anyone who would have to inform Christine. Janelle appeared a few minutes later. She was different, calmer than Robyn recalled, yet guarded. There was determination in her gait that Robyn had always admired. She never pretended. Janelle was never the type to sugarcoat. They shared an awkward perfunctory hug. No cameras, no producers, no scripts, just two women who once shared the same man as husband, now sitting opposite one another, like suspicious co-defendants. Janelle didn't waste any time. So what did Christine do? Robyn took her time, stirring her coffee. She smiled. Janelle looked at her incredulously. That's all? It was the way she smiled, Robyn explained, like she already knew she'd won. Janelle crossed her arms, leaned back. She has won. At least, that's how it appears to the public. Robyn gazed down at her cup. It's not the truth. There was silence. Then quietly, Janelle said, no, it's not. For the first time in weeks, Robyn did not feel crazy. Someone else finally spoke it aloud. She's everywhere, Robyn breathed. Every talk show, every podcast, every interview. She speaks of finding her voice, her liberty, how she recovered from the pain we allegedly inflicted on her. And we're the bad guys, Janelle continued, a wry smile twisting her lips. And particularly you. Robyn didn't bat an eye. I didn't break up the family. Janelle sipped her tea, eyes glinting. But you remained faithful to the man who did. Robyn sighed. That's true. And that was the thing about Janelle. She didn't sharpen the knife, but she didn't pretend like it wasn't either. Robyn dipped into her bag and produced the journal, the very same one she had read from the night before. She pushed it across the table. I held on to this for years, she said, to recall things in detail. For the children, really, but there's some things in here Christine likely assumed I had forgotten. Janelle hadn't touched it so far. She was just looking at the cover. Like what? Like when she was thinking of leaving way before she did. Robyn replied. When Kody was still attempting to make things work, she said she was finished, that she didn't want the lifestyle anymore, that it was all too much. Janelle's eyes grew soft. I remember that. She said the same to me. That caught Robyn by surprise. She did. Janelle nodded. But not at the same moment. Christine told each of us what she believed we needed to. She needed to be heard, not challenged. Robyn took a slow breath. It wasn't only her. Christine had hijacked her grief and turned it in various directions, always calibrating the angle based on who was observing. Did she tell you I was Kody's favorite? Robyn grumbled. But the thing is, he never really was with me. Not like people imagine. Janelle curled an eyebrow. Really? Robyn paused, then nodded again. He clung to me because I was the last one available. But being chosen and being convenient are two different things. That phrase hung between them like a secret that neither of them cared to acknowledge had always existed. For years, Robyn had borne the designation, favorite wife, the one who stole him, the one who disrupted the balance. But in private, it was otherwise. Kody was not a romantic. He was a drowning man who clung to whatever was near it. Janelle finally opened the journal. Her eyes scanned the first few pages. A trace of recognition swept across her face. I forgot how much you wrote, she murmured. I remembered too much. Robyn and they sat in silence for a bit. Clinking dishes and soft music covered the blank. Janelle closed the diary and shoved it back. So what do you want to do? Robyn gazed at her hands. I want to tell the truth, but I don't want to become her. Janelle nodded slowly. Meaning? I don't want to make this into a war, Robyn said. But I also don't want to continue pretending that I wasn't included in the story just because it's more convenient to erase. Janelle's voice was unyielding. Then tell it. But don't attempt to dictate how people hear it. That struck Robyn harder than she had anticipated, because for so long she had attempted to control the story, to temper the sharpness, to remain quiet, and pray that silence would safeguard the children, the family, the tenuous fantasy they constructed together. But Christine had burned down that fantasy and emerged through the flame, under a glare of light. Robyn remained behind in the I saved her letter, Robyn blurted out. Janelle blinked. What letter? The one she wrote all those years ago. The one where she confessed she'd felt broken, where she said she no longer loved him, that she didn't know how to remain, but also didn't wish to. Janelle's eyes were wide. You've kept it? She asked me to, Robyn replied. She told me not to share it with anyone, that it was our secret, and I never did, until this. Christine is smart, said Janelle. She's diplomatic about what she says in public, but if she's out there deleting things, perhaps she's not as careful as she believed. Robyn's chest constricted. Do you think she intended to delete me, or was I just inconvenient? Janelle didn't say anything for a very long time, and then she said, I believe she derives strength from being the one who went, and you became the emblem of all that she left behind, whether or not you deserved it. That was a truth Robyn did not wish to confront. It wasn't about her anymore. It was symbolic. She wasn't Robyn. She was the wife who remained, the one who had become the reflection Chris did not wish to confront. And Christine had kept the world from seeing the other side of that mirror. Janelle pulled on her coat. You should speak to Mary. Robyn's eyes flashed open. Mary? She hasn't been saying much, said Janelle. But she's got stories too. Things Christine omitted. Things we all omitted. Robyn swallowed. You think she'd even speak to me? Perhaps not immediately. Janelle replied. But she's not blind. She's been observing as the rest of us have. They emerged from the cafe side by side, into the bright afternoon light. The parking lot was half full, the world still revolving outside their own little tempest. As they parted, Janelle gave Robyn a look, and spoke something that lingered in her mind. The truth doesn't care who's popular. It just waits, quietly, until someone finally says it out loud. And Robyn decided she would be that someone. Maybe not with a book, maybe not with a show, but with the courage to reclaim her own narrative. Even if it meant standing alone. Robyn hesitated outside the gate. Mary's house sat quiet on the hill, tucked behind weather-worn fences, and a garden that had grown a little wild. It had been years since Robyn had stood on this porch, not since the divorce, not since the day Kody legally married her and left Mary with a signature and silence. She raised her hand to knock, but she hesitated. What did she hope for? Sympathy? Forgiveness? Something more sinister? Understanding? The door opened before her knuckles struck the wood. Mary stood waiting, arms crossed, as if she had been expecting. "I heard," she said in a flat tone. Robyn swallowed. "May I enter?" There was a moment's pause long enough to hurt, before Mary moved aside. The inside of the house still smelled the same. Cedarwood, vanilla, a hint of dust. Familiar but not quite cozy. Like the memory of home once the home had ceased to be one. They sat in the front room, an open Bible on the side table, a half-finished tea mug still warm beside it. Robyn saw a photo of Leon by the fireplace, smiling in graduation robes. "Still red?" Robyn asked, nodding toward the book. Mary nodded. "I still hold on to some things." Robyn felt the force of that sentence against her heart. Because not everyone still believed. Not anymore. "I saw Christine," Robyn said. Mary didn't flinch. "I know. Of course she did." The family had broken apart, but the currents of information still ran. In huddles, in reports relayed through children, in things never shared online, but still known. "I left her a letter," Robyn stated. "One she wrote years ago. When she was falling apart, I held on to it." She didn't deny it. Mary remained quiet. "So why now?" Robyn looked down at her hands. "Because she's painting herself as the only one who ever hurt. And I'm the one everyone loves to hate." Mary's eyes darkened. "Join the club." That bitterness in her voice wasn't new, but it cut deeper now. Mary had always been the first, the legal wife, the foundation, and then over time she became a shadow. The narrative moved past her, reshaped without her permission. "I used to stand up for her," Mary blurted out. "When she left, when she began giving interviews, I explained that she was just finding her peace. But now, I don't know. She's revising things, leaving me behind, leaving you behind." Robyn nodded. "I thought I was covering her back then, keeping her secrets, being her sister. And now she's selling out on the story," Mary went on. "And we're mere background noise." The pain in her tone was unfettered, unembellished. Robyn paused, then dug into her bag and took out a photocopy of the letter. She pushed it across the coffee table. "I just wanted you to have something to prove it, if you didn't believe." Mary did not move to pick it up. "I don't require proof," she stated softly. "I recall the evening she wrote it." Robyn blinked. "You do?" "She showed up here first," Mary explained. "Told me she was finished, that she couldn't pretend anymore. I sent her to speak to Kody." "To you?" She said she was frightened. Robyn sat forward. "What of?" "Of being the bad guy," Mary replied, a sour smile on her face. Funny how it went down. The room became quiet, heavy with unspoken history. So much hurt had been taken in silence. It had become furniture. Robyn glared at the fire, untouched in the hearth. "Why didn't we ever talk this way before?" "Because you were Kody's wife," Mary snapped, "and I wasn't anymore. That makes things different." "I never wanted that," Robyn said. "I didn't come in to take anything. He made that choice." Mary's voice broke a little. "Doesn't matter who wanted what. We all lost something." The tension between them was no longer hostile. It was weary. A common pain finally speak. Robyn's eyes came back from looking somewhere else. "Do you think Christine really believes her own account?" Mary was still for a very long time. Then she spoke. "I think she must." Robyn's face screwed up. "Why?" "Because the truth would mean she hurt people too. And she can't do that and be the hero. So she edits. She erases." That word struck me. Erases? Because that was what it had felt like. Robyn wasn't simply being criticized, she was being erased. "Do you want revenge?" Mary asked abruptly. Robyn shook her head. "I want the world to stop calling me a villain for surviving." Mary slowly nodded. "Then perhaps you should speak." Robyn was staring at her. "You mean out there?" "I mean clearly," Mary replied. "You don't require a stage, but you do require a voice." She's using hers. You can use yours as well. Robyn sat back, letting the burden of that realization sink within her. She had been quiet for so long, trusting that her quiet would maintain the peace. But the peace was already lost, and she hadn't even received credit for remaining silent. Mary rose and made her way to the window, gazing out into the late afternoon light. "You're not the only one," she cut out. "I used to be the hub of this family. Now I'm a footnote." Robyn stood up too. "Then perhaps we speak together." Mary turned, taken aback. "You actually want to do that?" I want to be heard, Robyn stated, not to win, just to exist again. There was a long silence, and then Mary said, "Let me think about it." And that was more than Robyn had hoped for. They didn't hug goodbyes, they weren't there yet. But there was something gentler between them as she departed, like the first breath after years underwater. That night, Robyn rocked on her porch, observing the shadows creep across the grass. The children slept. Kody was out again, somewhere thinking. He did quite a bit of that these days. Robyn did not inquire where. Her phone flashed with a message. It was from an unknown number. Just a single sentence. "Tell your story before someone else finishes it for you." She glared at it for a very long time. No signature, no context. But the message wasn't ambiguous. She had a decision now. Be the vessel of everyone else's anger, or take back her own voice, and finally shatter the silence that had imprisoned her for far too long. She booted up her laptop, and sat down to write. The cursor flashed at her as a challenge. Robyn glared at the empty post on her screen, her fingers suspended above the keyboard, quivering ever so slightly, her heart racing, not with terror, but with something more profound, something cutting and raw. She wasn't writing a memoir. She wasn't publishing a book. It was just a post, a brief one. She picked her words with care. "I've been quiet long enough. I saw someone I used to consider sister tell her tale, her version of, but there's another side. I was there as well, and I've quietly bled as the world applauded for someone who walked away with a mess I assisted in keeping hidden. I don't want sympathy. I don't want the spotlight. I want room to be human again." She hesitated, reading it again. No names, no accusation, no theatrics, simply truth. She clicked post. In a few minutes her phone vibrated. Then again, then wouldn't stop. She closed the app. This wasn't about comment. This was about taking a piece of the story for herself. She entered the kitchen, filled a glass of water, and attempted to ignore the electric storm brewing online. She didn't have to look. She already knew what half would rage at her, the other half would stay. Unsure what to think. That night, she couldn't sleep, and the following morning, everything was more cacophony. Christine had reacted. Robyn opened her phone nervous. Christine's post was understated, but frigid. "Some wait until they're irrelevant to get their voice, and some of us just spoke when it counted." No name once more. But the timing was certain. Christine knew what she was doing. So did the press. Headlines were already spreading. Robyn breaks silence, takes aim at Christine. Sister Wives War. The truth Robyn's version too little, too late. She sat back and allowed it to wash over her. The noise, the spin, the ridicule. She didn't fight it, because the truth wasn't in the headline. It was in how people One message caught her off guard. It was from an old producer from the show, someone who had stopped calling her years ago, when Christine became the new favorite. "If you're ready to talk, for real, we'd love to hear your side. Unfiltered." Robyn stared at the message for a long time. She didn't answer, not yet. Instead, she reached for the phone and dialed the one person's response she dreaded, Kody. He picked up on the third ring, sounding sleep-deprived. "Robyn, we need to talk," he sighed. "I knew this was going to happen." "Have you watched it?" she asked. "Yeah. You made your move." "It wasn't a move, Kody. It was survival." His tone grew hard. "You know what this is going to rouse? Christine won't back down. The network's probably ecstatic." "I don't care about the network," Robyn replied. "I care that I've been an invisible in my own narrative." Kody didn't answer. Then he spoke. "You didn't inform me you were going to share. I didn't think I needed your approval." That silence was greater than any sound. Kody had always needed control. Control over how the family looked, how the story sounded, how the women behaved. But Robyn wasn't his polished version of loyalty anymore. She hung up before he could say more. Later that day, a message came from Mary. "Saw your post, proud of you. Let me know when you're ready to do more." More. The word pulsed in her chest. Was she ready? The letter Christine had written remained in her drawer, unopened since the day she slid it across the table. It was not a weapon. It was a reminder of the pain Christine had attempted to conceal, and the truth she'd learned to censor. Robyn didn't want to destroy her. She simply wanted her to end the act of pretending Robyn had never lived. That night, Robyn received a phone call she did not anticipate. It was Garrison. Her heart turned over as she replied. "Hello?" He talked carefully. "I read what you wrote." She waited. "I didn't necessarily believe everything," he said. "But I understand. More than I expected to." Robyn barely knew what to say. Garrison had always been Janelle's closest ally. He had distanced himself after the family broke. His sorrow had expressed itself in various ways. Some in loud voices, others in silent ones. "I'm not asking for anyone to take sides," Robyn said. "I just wanted to stop disappearing." "You did," Garrison said. "And that matters. Even if it's messy." That call meant more than 100 headlines. She hung up and let herself cry for the first time in weeks. Not because she was broken, but because someone had finally said, "I see you." The next morning, Christine made her next move. A long interview fell. Slickly produced, professionally filmed. A warm backdrop, gentle lighting. Christine in pastels. A bright smile. She refused to say Robyn's name, but the point was made. "I was courageous," she said. "I got out when remaining would have killed me. I spoke up because quiet repulsed me. And when people attempt to reword history, I simply recall, I lived it." Robyn played the clip back on mute. She didn't need to hear it. Christine always came across well on camera. But this time it didn't hurt. Because for once, Robyn wasn't being erased. She was in the frame. Whether people agreed with it or not, she logged back into her account. She didn't put up a rebuttal. Instead, she posted a photo. A photo of a yellowed handwritten recipe card. Christine's handwriting on top, smudged from being handled for years. On the back, the following note: "Thanks for always listening. I couldn't do this without you." Robyn didn't caption it. She didn't need to. The responses pointed and accused. Some said she was manipulative. Others said she was brave. Some were perplexed. But under the chatter, something shifted. People were beginning to question. And Christine, she didn't post anything for 3 days. That silence was louder than all the applause. Later that week, Robyn met with Mary again. This time, not to compare wounds, but to plan. "I'm not trying to fight her," Robyn said. Mary nodded. "But you're finally fighting for yourself." And for the first time in a long time, Robyn smiled. Because the war wasn't against Christine. It was against the silence that let everyone believe Robyn had nothing left to say. And now, she was only just beginning. Christine did not knock. She simply walked in, like before. Robyn rose from the kitchen table, shocked. She hadn't thought she'd see her today. Not without calling. Not after the media frenzy. But there she stood, in the doorway as if no time had lapsed. "I read the post," Christine declared, arms crossed. Robyn nodded. "Which one?" Christine produced a brief, mirthless smile. "The recipe card. You were always so subtle." Robyn sat down, gestured to the chair. Christine didn't sit. "You trying to guilt me?" "No," Robyn said. "I was trying to remind you we were real." Christine's jaw clenched. "And what are we now?" Robyn gazed up at her, unflinching. "That depends on whether you came here to listen, or to defend your story." For an instant, Christine didn't stir. Then at last, she rose and moved across to sit opposite her. The room seemed to be holding its breath. Christine began. "I was furious when I read your post." "I know. I felt betrayed." "So did I," Robyn breathed. They sat in that heavy silence for a moment, the atmosphere between them charged with unspoken years. "You were my sister," Christine said. "But after all of this, after Kody, after the show, I didn't recognize you anymore." Robyn inched closer. "I never stopped being your sister. Even when you stopped being mine." Christine blinked quickly, as if she might cry. But she didn't. Robyn pulled out the original letter. The real one, not the copy. The one Christine wrote in desperation all those years ago. She put it down on the table, soft but firm. "This never left my home." Christine gazed at it. Her hands fluttered, then drew back. "You could have destroyed me with that," she breathed. "But I didn't," Robyn said. "Because I knew what it took for you to write it." Christine gazed up, eyes shiny. "Then why now? Why the post? Why bring it all back up again?" "Because I was vanishing," Robyn replied, her voice breaking. "I became the antagonist to your comeback tale. And the world never challenged it. You got to be the hero. I became the reason you had to be a hero." Christine swallowed. "I never intended to erase you," she replied. I did not know how to tell the truth without reopening scars. But those wounds are still here, Robyn said. They never healed, not because you left, but because you left me behind like I was part of the problem. Christine looked down. You were never the problem. Robyn sat back, letting out a breath. Then why did you let them believe it? Tears flooded Christine's eyes. Because it was easier to have a villain, than to admit I broke too. There it was. The sentence Robyn had been waiting for. Not an apology, not a confession of sin, but honesty. And that was sufficient. I'm not asking for a redo, Robyn said. We both did what we had to do to survive. Christine nodded deliberately. But I shouldn't have survived at your expense. They sat there side by side in sorrow and silent understanding. Two women who had loved the same man, shared the same home, professed the same faith, and then took radically disparate journeys. Christine lay her hand on the letter, touching it tenderly. I forgot what I wrote, she said. You were hurting, Robyn said. So was I. Christine stared at her, this time without filter, without roll. Can we let it go now? Robyn shook her head softly. No, but we can move forward with it. That difference was important. Letting go would be to act like it hadn't ever occurred. Robyn didn't want to forget. She wanted to grow around the truth, not hide it. Christine nodded slowly. Then she got up, reached for the letter, and slid it back into the envelope. Turning to exit, she hesitated at the door. I'm not the only one with a platform, she said. If you want to tell your story, I won't get in your way. Robyn smiled weakly. I already did. Christine smiled too, gentle and sorrowful. Yeah, I guess you did. She exited quietly, and Robyn was left once more alone, but not empty, not erased. That evening, Robyn remained outside beneath the porch light, drinking tea and listening to the quiet. The sky was dark and infinite. Far out there, the world was still deliberating sides. Christine's fans, Robyn's detractors, the never-ending discussion about who had broken what, who had hurt whom. But in that moment, it didn't matter. She had stolen back her voice, not to triumph, but to be complete. Her phone vibrated once more. It was from Mary. I watched the interview clip. You did it flawlessly. If you ever decide to tell your story together, you know where I am. Robyn smiled. And then a message came from Janelle. You did it. You didn't burn it down. You lit a candle. That's harder. And another one. This time anonymous. I never liked you on the show, but after your post, I see you now. She flipped the phone over and let the screen dim. The porch light fluttered feebly overhead. The night was hushed, but not lonely. And Robyn finally, perhaps for the first time in years, comprehended what peace was. It wasn't quiet, it was truth, spoken in entirety. She went inside and shut the door softly behind her. The house was quiet, not vacant, just full of space to breathe. And somewhere off in the distance, the spotlight dimmed. But Robyn remained here.